SBR Videos is sponsored by Sports Cash System. Click on the link below for more information. We are previewing Week 14 in college football, and we're talking with Troy West from allplayswin.com, who tells me he's absolutely on fire at his website in football recently. And right now we're going to cover two college games in the Pac-12, which is Troy's specialty in college football. Troy, thanks for being back with us.
Hey, thanks a lot, Pete. I appreciate it. Yeah, we slipped up quite a bit in college football last Saturday, but overall a very successful weekend due to our NFL. Pac-12, we're still very, very hot. Two teams that are, I'm right here in Seattle, Washington, two teams I feel pretty good, pretty comfortable about, so I hope I can give a pretty slight, I wouldn't say a slight edge. This is a tough line, but I think we've got an edge here, without doubt, Pete.
Now here we go, the rivalry game, right? Washington State at Washington. Washington's a 14-point favorite, and the total is 65 at BetOnline that I just saw. Maybe when it becomes widely available, it'll change a bit, but, I'm looking at this. You look at just how these two teams have played this year. They're pretty much in the same boat. They've both gotten beaten handily by the upper tier Pac-12 teams, but against the rest of the teams, they played reasonably well. Both of them have some reasonably impressive wins over like the bottom tier teams and the mid tier teams of the Pac-12. So they look roughly evenly matched to me. 14 points seems like a little bit much. Should Washington State really be a 2-touchdown underdog here? I'm not convinced. I think that's a side that you're going to say has value.
I truly feel that this game is going to lie right around that line. I do. So for the bettors out there, this is not a game I would be pounding by any stretch of the imagination. You got to remember, Washington is at home, which is going to play a huge factor. This is the first time the Apple Cup's going to be played in this stadium. And an interesting fact here, Pete, this is the first time in quite some time, well over 10 years, that both these teams are bowl eligible. The Washington State Cougars and the Washington Huskies are both bowl eligible. So, yeah, there's a lot to be played for in terms of rivalry, but regardless of the outcome, these teams are going bowling. So I just think Washington putting up 69 points on Oregon State at Oregon State. How can you argue that? Right now they got Siler Miles, the backup quarterback, who's really lifted this team. Going into this week, it's still debatable who will be the starting quarterback. It's either going to be Keith Price or Miles. Either one, I think you're going to get a quality performance. Bishop Sankey's been one of the best running backs in college football this year. They've been able to establish the run. Washington's secondary is pretty solid, and the Cougars throw the football damn near every single down. So I think that's really where the edge comes in. I think the crowd noise is going to be really, really loud, so that might affect the Cougar passing game as well. 14 is a lot of points for a rivalry game. Cougars are playing phenomenal football. Huskies are playing great football. But I do think it's going to land right around the 14-point. If I had to really guess this final score, probably 45-30 Washington. That's why I take Washington minus the 14. But as far as bettors go, I would probably stay away from this one, Pete.
Yeah, I mean, Washington's performance offensively at Oregon State last week was awesome. But maybe even though this is a rivalry game, and there will be some kind of a letdown because it's on a short turnaround. And Washington State, if you look over their record this year, they've had some impressive wins as well.
No, they have, and I couldn't agree with you more. I truly think that the reason the line is at 14 and not more in the 7, 8, 9, 10 range is because this crowd volume is the first time in the new Husky Stadium that this Apple Cup's going to be played. I think the Huskies will get up for this one. There's no doubt about it. It's a Friday game, the day after Thanksgiving. Love the fact it's a rivalry game. I think that crowd noise will affect that Cougar passing game, and the Huskies do have a great secondary. They do. They got Sean Parker, Shaq Thompson. They've got guys that can play defense in that secondary. So I think that's why the line's 14, because the Huskies' strengths play against the Cougars' strengths very well. So 14 is where it's at, and I think it's going to float right around 14 if I had to guess, Pete. I really think so.
All right, excellent point on the crowd noise possibly impacting Washington State's passing game. So you're going to take a Washington minus 14. We'll also let you take the over 65, which, again, is not widely available, but is a number right now at BetOnline. You can take that if you'd prefer.
Yeah, no, on my official pick, I will go over the 65, but
okay.
I do think Washington 14 has a little bit of value, but officially on SPR, let's make it the over.
Okay, sounds good, Troy. Thanks.